Hi, everyone. I hope y'all are having a wonderful day wherever you are. I'm so excited. I'm really getting some things done, some things that I've just been working on and trying to just finally do it. And what I find amazing is how God will open doors and just help you to get things done, bring people along your path to help you guys. And it's just amazing to me. And sometimes when God puts you in a place where, especially if sometimes He removes you from your norm and from your circles, you can get nervous about that. But I just want to encourage somebody to really trust God, to really trust that God will place people in your life who will help you. Things where you feel scared, things where you feel nervous, things where you feel like, oh, now you're tempted to maybe go back and make phone calls to people that you've had to separate from, or go back to relationships that were bad for you because you're like, oh, how am I going to do this? I want you all to really pray and ask God to lead you and to guide you, because the Lord will strategically place people in your life that sometimes when you need things done, you see that they are going to be there 110% without any drama. They're not going to be telling you, oh, I can't. Oh, you need to pay me. Oh, you need to do this. Oh, you need to do that. Oh, well, what are you going to do for me? You will be amazed how many who God will place in your life that will do more for you than other people that you know or even share blood with in some cases. And sometimes, guys, it's not always that the Lord pulled you away from people because they're bad. Sometimes the Lord may tell you it's time for you to learn to depend on me. Sometimes you may have family members that's always doted on you and helped you and is there for you, and you're dependent on them for everything, and God wants to show you differently. And then of course there's a flip side. You may have family members that's negative, and people around you and relationships that's been bad, and now you're in a place where God is going to open doors and provide. And so I just want to tell you guys that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. And I'm just excited to get things done, guys. And one of my main things too is just bringing some things in order, things that I needed to get rid of, things that I need to pack up and move. And it was just like, oh, how am I going to do it? And the Lord just showed me bit by bit, day by day, little by little. And then the bigger things, I'm going to provide the muscle to help you get it done. And the Lord showed up and He showed out. And He's going to keep showing up and showing out. So I'm excited. So, believe it or not, that's not what this message is really about, even though some bits and pieces of what I'm talking about will make sense. And we're going to talk about the importance of removing yourself from toxic individuals. And this is really coming as I was in communication with someone. We're kind of talking in the comments, and I was just encouraging this person. And we're in that comment, the person was talking about people who do not take accountability. First, it was just a general question, and I answered, and then we got a little more specific. The importance of really taking note of people who never take responsibility, they're not accountable for anything, and things are always your fault. Now, before we can look out at other people, we always have to look in. The word of God says, how can you take how can you take the mote out of somebody else's eye when you have a beam in your own? So I take that to mean many things, to include, you must be honest with yourself, because there are people who they're trying to love on you and they are being genuine. And then this individuals could literally be sitting there doing all kinds of things to sabotage the relationship, the friendship, doing things to break the trust on a consistent basis. So it is possible that sometimes it's not that they're not being accountable, but there are people who they are just naturally crooked in nature, in their thinking and in their mind, and they just refuse to do right. And they will then flip the script and try to project what they're doing to other people. So in those cases, it's important to be honest with yourself and say, have I truly been honest in this relationship? Have I been genuine? Have I been upfront? Have I been accountable? Have I been responsible? Okay. Because there are people who go around ruining people's lives and they don't take any accountability, no responsibility, and they continue to sing the victim songs. And they'll go around and they'll paint this ugly picture of the people they have hurt, they have destroyed, and make it seem as if, well, this person was wrong when they, in fact, are not being accountable. So, with that being said, we must first be willing to self reflect and look at ourselves. Okay. And then, with that being said, then God begins to show you some things about individuals around you. Because there are people who do not want to take responsibility. They do not want to be accountable for anything. They do things and they play mind games and head games. They try to what they call gaslighting, which that means they want you to question your reality. They want you to question everything. They have done something and said something. And when you said you did that, they say, no, I never did that. When you're saying, I saw you do this. No, you didn't see me do this. Did you hear me say that? Did you see me do that? Did I say this? Did I say that? Then how do you know I did this? How do you know you thought it becomes a game? Okay. And it becomes sport at some point. And these individuals, normally they're gonna prime you. They're gonna start you off with doing little things, and then it just builds up to bigger things. And when you first begin to catch them in their lies or in their games, they'll deny it. They may cry to throw you off. They may beg you. They may do all these things, be really sweet. They may just really do things to throw you off, or become a lot more attentive to throw you off. But after a while, as they have done so many things to you over and over again, they become less courteous, less concerned, less apologetic. They begin to blame you. They begin to laugh at you. They begin to mock you and threaten you, and things get worse to a point that you are so broken down that you don't know if you're going left or right. You begin to doubt yourself. You are going to see yourself changing. You may even lose your hair. Your hair could start breaking. You may start breaking out. You may start gaining weight. You may start drinking. You may start smoking. You may go back to some things. You may become more volatile, and they're going to feed off of that. Because toxic people, they want to bring you down to this place of just a base level that they can capitalize on that. So if you're normally a patient person, you're normally a kind person, they probably hate that because that makes them feel bad. But if they can get you up to a point where you are cussing like a sailor, behaving poorly, they feel good about that because now they have something that they could use against you. And all of a sudden, that one moment in time becomes the whole reason why they couldn't do right by you. So the Bible has a scripture, there's a proverb that says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. And what happens is hope deferred means you're hoping things will change. They may even tell you things are going to change. And you believe in it. And the more you believe in it and the more they continue to disappoint you, the worse you're going to feel as a person and an individual. And the reason why your hair may be falling out, the reason why you may become suspicious, the reason why when you hear the ping of a message, you become hyper vigilant, and if they walk outside, you just don't, you're peeking through the blinds or whatever you're doing, or they say they're going somewhere, you're hyper vigilant, you're not eating, you're overeating, is because what happens is when you stick around toxic people, you're going to change in nature. When your heart is sick, your spirit man becomes sick, and it's going to show through your action and through your appearance. When you're not happy, your eyes change. You don't have that brightness. You don't have that twinkle. If you look at yourself in the mirror, you may not even recognize yourself. You may get pale. You may get gray and ashen. Your skin may start to look different. You have a frown, a crease in your face. You may not care about how you look anymore. You don't have any energy because you're around a negative person. You're around a toxic individual who has given you hope over and over again, promises over and over again, the honeymoon phase over and over, let you up to drop you, abandon you to show up, drop you again, promise you something, break that promise, and give you another promise. I remember the late Dr. Miles Monroe said, a person of poor character will promise you something else today, will promise you something today, do something else tomorrow, do the opposite of that, and then promise you something else. And a lot of you have been in that cycle. And that's an example of hope deferred. Hope, you have hope, but you never get it. Hope becomes like tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll do this, tomorrow. But then they'll say, no, tomorrow's tomorrow. And you go on and on and on with this person who destroys and depletes you. And you have to understand something. This is a tough lesson to learn, that if you don't care enough about yourself to protect yourself and to remove yourself, you can't expect that person to care more about you than you do for yourself. You cannot expect someone to care more about you than you do for yourself. If you don't protect yourself, if you don't have enough within yourself to stand strong, to be your greatest advocate, they're not going to do it for you. This is easier said than done, but the Word of God tells us in Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It begins with a cry out for help, asking God to help you, asking Him to give you the strength, asking Him to guard your heart, to guard it, to protect your heart, so that you're not led by that beautiful heart that you have within you that is becoming pierced through and splintered and dashed, because that's something that they're fed off of. These individuals that are toxic will feed off of the fact that they know you forgive, they know that you care, they know that you love them, and they will feed off of your heart. And your beautiful heart that was full of empathy and love and forgiveness and grace begins to become darkened and weakened. And the main artery of your heart is just bleeding out because you're just poking and poking and poking and taking from you. And you got a bunch of bandages and little things around it. It's not going to function the same. And so you have to ask God to protect you and protect your heart, so you are not being manipulated by their tears, your cries, your pleas, whatever they try to do to influence you. You have to ask God to protect your mind so that you can see things clearly and that you're not living in the fantasy that they've built in your mind, that hope of this is what they're going to do. Their sob story of, oh, they grew up in an abusive home. Oh, we grew up in an abusive home. Oh, this happened to them. This happened to them. We grew up here. I saw this happen. No, they are responsible for their behavior, because some of you may even have people you grew up in the same environment. You experienced the same things. Why is it that you don't have a desire to destroy them? Despite growing up in the same toxic household or the same neighborhood or experiencing similar things. Because it's a choice. There are people who love to tell you everything that's going wrong with them, but that is to prime you for the sympathy, and that's going to be their excuse. Oh, well, you know what I went through. You know this happened to me. You know that happened to me. It's very important that you pray and ask God to guide you and then take the steps. You're not always going to feel, you may still love the person and you may still care about the person, but when you have the opportunity to move on, to move away, to go away, to get a job, or they break up with you, or whatever happens, that distance is created, you step out and you take it. It's better to heal moving forward, crying and feeling sad, moving ahead and progressing, because when you do that, healing is going to come eventually, versus crying and being in the same place where you continue to be hurt over and over again. Sometimes you may find it scary to leave the person because truly you have been indoctrinated by their negative thoughts. You've been indoctrinated and broken down so much that you begin to believe what they said about you, even if you deny it, because you've been in that environment for a long time. Toxicity can lead you, being around toxic people can lead you to doubt yourself, to have low self-esteem, to begin to self-loathe yourself, because what happens when you're around them and you've been around them so long, and now you go into defense mode, you begin to be mean, and you do back to them what they're doing to you, and you speak to them a certain way, and you're having your breakdowns and you're screaming and you're yelling and all of that. You begin to feel shame for your behavior. And you think, this is who I am, and they're going to reinforce that. Look at you. Ironically, they won't leave you. They may use that excuse because there are people that will provoke you to, a husband or a boyfriend, girlfriend, wife provoke you, do something, they will start a fight. And when you get upset, that's their, oh, I'm leaving. And they leave and go away and come back, go wherever they want to go. And a lot of times the reason why they come back is because a lot of times people are not going to put up with them. You are the main supply. Okay? You're the one that they can get away with a lot of things. And also, whatever they're building and trying to do on the flip side with this other person or whatever they're trying to do, it's still under construction. So they're going to keep coming back around you and all this good stuff until they are sure everything's set. That's when they start to be really indifferent. They don't care. And they hope you will say it's over because they're ready. They're already leaving some things over at this place. The saddest thing sometimes is when it's your family. What do? We share blood, we share DNA. But you have to realize toxic people, it is a spiritual thing. It's choices that they've made throughout their lives. If you have a toxic parent, they've been doing this stuff long before you were born. They have a head start. You're not responsible for them and their actions. You're responsible for safeguarding yourself. You can love on them, you can try, but after a while you have to. When and if that parent shows you, or parents shows you, that they will hurt you and harm you, when they will do things where you're wondering, is this person related to me? This is where you have to step back. They're being consumed more and more by evil and by darkness. But you're being reined in and you're being lured in, and you keep staying in place because they have this title. You have people who will be mother, father, brother, sister when it's convenient. But they will willingly step out of that role to do the unthinkable to you and then jump back into, I'm your mother and your father, you must honor me. While they forget, the Bible says, do not provoke your children to wrath. You see, God is balanced. He tells a child about respecting their parents, but the flip side is he also talks to parents about how they should treat their children. And oftentimes it's very one-sided because it's toxic. And that's why you'll have parents who will be very horrible to their children, mistreating them and using the Bible as, weaponizing the word of God, telling them God is going to kill them because you're not honoring me. Well, sometimes they have to honor you from a distance. They can honor you as a parent, but recognize that you have a dark an evil thing within you that you need to deal with, and it is not their job to do that. They are not your parents. And people don't like that. But it's so important to separate yourself. It's so important to understand what you have going on around you. It's so important that when God shows you things, when you discover things about your loved ones, you may discover they lied. You may discover they're plotting against you. You may discover they're talking behind your back with this loved ones, friends, this person. Discovery, guys, is God opening up your eyes. It's not always for you to go argue with them and they tell you a lie and make you doubt what you saw. God is just showing you this is the truth. And when you get these gems, ask the Lord to help you. When you're weak, this is when you cry out to God and say, Lord, I am weak. Lord, I am torn. Lord, I don't know how to do this. Please give me the strength and the ability and the opportunity to step out of this. Because toxic people can lead you to take your life. Toxic individual can lead you to a place of anger where you end up taking theirs, end up hurting them. Toxic people can keep you in a space where you may have children, you may have a spouse, you may have a family, but you can't because you have this person, whether it's relatives or whoever, that's doing so much wrong to you that you may experience displacement. You come home and you're taking it out on your family, or you're so down and depressed that you can't see that your family needs you because you're bogged down with hurt and pain. Toxicity will blind you. Toxicity will drain you. Toxicity kills, steals, and destroys because it's a dark and evil spirit. It is a spirit. That's why a person that's related to you can do evil. That's why you can look at your friend, someone that's supposed to be a quote unquote friend, and see this dark, evil look in their face. You're looking at that evil in them. And then what happens? Split second, it's gone. Because those things are moments that God opens up your eyes to show you. Now, I'm not telling you you're supposed to look at them and throw salt on them and throw holy water on them and put a big cross on them. You need to see what that is. God is showing you, because you're not responsible for them. You're responsible for you. So when opportunities come, if you have the opportunity to go off to school, you have the opportunity to get a contract job to go somewhere. There are plenty of jobs, guys. USA.gov, there's so many jobs where you can work as a clerk, a mail person, a stock, whatever, post office person. There's a little bit of everything. You can get these jobs and get on a plane and go fly somewhere and live somewhere far. Go live on the other side of your country, state. There are many opportunities, but people get afraid, and what that fear and that doubt is because of what your family may have placed in your mind, what this person may have told you. You're stupid, you're dumb, you'll never do it without me. But how about you step out and say, God, I'm going to trust you. You be my shield, you be my comforter, you teach me everything I need to know, because he will do it. And don't look at things that's happened to people that's moved and they went here and they traveled here and they died and this happened to them. That's what happened to that person. Sad thing, but that does not mean that is your reality. Toxic people are dangerous. Toxic people are those who are negative. They stay negative. They make promises and they keep breaking them. They keep hurting you. They keep apologizing and repeat the cycle again. And they stop talking to you. And then suddenly they're talking to you. And then you're supposed to just forget that you were hurt. They say things that's wrong. They expect you to forget about it. Just go along with them. They expect to get what they want to get from you. You shouldn't do anything about it. They expect to just live in your house and do as they please and not respect you. They expect to drive your car, drive all the gas out of it and bring it back empty. If you say anything about it, you need to remember their childhood. They don't take responsibility for their action. They bring a weight and a heaviness with them, and they put that on you. It makes your heart sick. It makes you doubt. It makes you hope but doubt. It makes you doubt and get to a point that you think life is hopeless, to the point that even waking can be difficult. Even living can be hard. And this is when that darkness is getting more and more and more. It's closing in around you. When they start to laugh, when they start to be indifferent, they're coming in for the kill. And this is where you cry out and you pray and you ask God, Lord, show me the way, help me, pull me out of this. And believe me, things will come. And you may get nervous, because a lot of times when you see this one way out, you get nervous. Well, what's going to happen if I do this? Just take that step and go. Some of you have opportunities. You could have gone off to college. You could have gone off to school, but you let this man or woman, this young boy, young girl, keep you nearby. Get away when you have the opportunity. Some of these people, young teenagers, you messing with somebody, your parents are telling you it's not good. This man or this boy, girl, have you crying and have you going through all the stuff, have your head spinning, you're not eating, you're texting. Every time you get better, every time you get stronger, they pop up again. It is a cycle. It's an evil cycle. And some of them, they'll do things where they will get you pregnant. If it's a boy, they want to get you pregnant so you're stuck with them, or they want to get pregnant for you so that you're stuck with them. Set yourself free, cut the cord, and ask God to help you. It is never too late. It's never too late, because once you have a baby with an antelope, you can forget it. And when I say antelope, I call somebody a hyena. It means they're wild. They're just wild and misbehaved, no sense. That stuff is a nightmare. And then if you have to co-parent with this person, you have this whole life you have to co-parent with them. And even when your children become adults, you're probably still going to touch and go with this person. They're going to come around. They're going to be at the wedding of your child, depending on what the relationship is. They may try to come around later. You find a lot of celebrities, there was an absent mother or father, and then the child becomes something great. And here comes Shady Grady Daddy. Here comes their mama. That's my baby. Where you been? Okay? So these moments will happen, and then you're going to have to figure out how to navigate through that. But when you have the opportunity now to just not have any baby, don't do it. If you do have a baby with this person, you share children, you share custody, then you pray and ask God to help you to navigate through these things and ask God to be in the midst of it. And when they disappear and they don't want to be around, consider it a blessing. God knows why. There are people who disappear out of your life and out of your child's life, and you hounding him and you trying to hound her and you trying to do this. Some people, you need to leave them alone. I'm not saying that some of you, you're not supposed to be seeking out child support or whatever, but sometimes even that is a blessing in itself. When they're just not doing what they need to do, ask God to help you. Whatever you need to pursue, make sure you're asking God to guide you in that wisdom, because sometimes you doing that distance right there helps you. Like they know they're in back child support and they owe thousands and thousands of dollars. They're not going to bother you. Believe that. And sometimes that's for the better. And who knows, one day you may get a big old check in the mail, because especially if you put it in the hand of the state is going to go after that person. So leave it alone, because sometimes when you are provoking and trying to bother that man and that woman, you're doing different things, it can turn around and there'll be a problem. So be led by the Spirit of God. I know that I kind of went off topic with that, but some things, guys, let it be. If you're co-parenting, you don't want to be vindictive. If the person, even though they're not a good person, they weren't good to you, if they are not harming their children, they're not hurting their children, you don't want to be vindictive, get revenge using your children. But at the same time, I'm just telling you, don't make babies with antelopes. Do not make babies with with an antelope, because it's gonna come back. That giraffe that you made a baby with will be bringing all the wildlife in your space, and that means this person has no sense. They just have the brute beast mentality, like the Bible talks about. Toxic people, they're responsible for their own actions. You're not. And if they choose to keep lying, they choose to keep breaking their promises, they choose to keep doing things that's going to jeopardize you as a person and individual, jeopardize your job. You're not obligated to hire them. You're not obligated to find a place for them to live. You're not obligated to risk your credit. You're not obligated to give them your money. They don't have a right to stay in your life and talk about what you bought. You don't have to hide what you bought, because now they're going to come in and say, well, oh, so you bought that, but you can buy me this. You are not their parent. You're not obligated to keep them in your house. You're not obligated to move them with you to your house. There comes a time you got to start looking, hey, I'm moving. You're not moving with us. Let's find you a place that you can live and you can stay regardless of their age, because sometimes, I'm telling you, toxic people who have not taken responsibility throughout their life, they now have the advantage of age. And age is where they get gray hair and a wrinkled face, but their soul and heart is still dark. And they're in your house raising hell among your family. But they have the old and gray halo, but they are the devil in disguise. And so sometimes you have to make plans and think, this is what we're going to do, because we're not taking you. I'm not telling you to abandon anybody or put them in leave them on the streets. But some people, guys, you cannot, because it is a spirit that this person has not been to a place of being held accountable. And they live their whole life deceiving and causing problems. And then they reach the point where they're old now, but their heart is still evil. Except now they got gray hair and cute little chubby granny cheeks or grandpa cheeks, but they're still vindictive. And you're wondering, what is going on in my house? Toxicity. So some of you may be facing things, oh, Candace, but nope. You really research well and find out where they can be. And you don't risk it. You don't risk it. You're not obligated to now transport this person and fly them overseas where you're going. You're not obligated to give this person a job. You're not obligated to buy this person a house. You're not obligated because now you got a promotion and you're doing well. You're not obligated to buy the church a bus. I remember a long time seeing somebody make a joke. When you make money and you get rich, people stop asking for regular stuff. People are not asking for $20. People are not asking for $100. They're not asking you to buy them, I don't know what, something simple someone may ask for. They're not asking for flowers anymore. They want you to buy a bus for the church. They want you to buy their house. And when you buy their house for them, they want you to also pay for any upgrades because you have money, but your wealth is not made so you can squander it on people who have been folding their hands, like the proverb said, who slept and slumbered more. Those who looked out the door and said, I can't go to work because there's a lion outside. No, now their poverty have come upon them like an armed man. And now they're looking at your pockets and saying, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that. By no means am I saying that we're to be selfish and not care about people, but there's some people who have squandered their blessings. They have chosen not to use the gift and abilities or develop the gifts and abilities that God has given to them. They're people who God has given them, just like when we have the parable of the master. To one he gave 3, to one he gave 5, to one he gave 1. They've chosen to hide their stuff. They've chosen to bury their gifts, bury their abilities. And now they're looking at you. Well, you got 5, you can help me out. No. Sometimes God allows you to get the increase and the overage so you can help people who he will bring in your path, people who are really trying, people who are really in duress and distress that you can help. You have a business, you own a company. No, you're not obligated to hire your cousin Pookie and your cousin Trouble. You're not obligated to hire people who are going to take things for granted. No, you need to use wisdom because there's somebody who would have needed that job, who would have been a good worker, who would have come on time. They were going to cross your path, but because you're not thinking, you're not discerning, and you've carried this toxic weight with you because hope deferred makes the heart sick. You can't think clearly. You will put this time bomb in your job that cause problems. How many of you right now are cleaning up all the pieces, picking up all the pieces from someone who you've kept in your life for too long? And what they do, they go off telling everybody you were the terrible person, what you did, and all this stuff. Sometimes they took people with you, took people with them. People who were your friends are now their BFFs and their friends. People who you were about to get married them. But no matter what, no matter who leaves, no matter who's talking about you, no matter what, everything you discover are gems God has shown you. This is who is around you. Yes, this person who you were about to marry was willing to go and leave you. This person who you thought was your friend, yeah, they were willing to go behind your back and join forces with this individual. This person who you said is family, yeah, they were willing to do this and give this person ammunition to use against you. It's all gifts and gems of discovery from God. And it's what you need to see so when you build again, you're not going to take dead weight with you into the blessings, into the newness that God has for you. Now you may have to go through your space of now learning to trust again, love again, whatever it may be. But now God's going to show you your heart. Now he's going to uncover your heart that he's been protecting and begin to go through the damage and help you to heal so that, number one, you don't carry anxiety, resentment, hatred. You become, because you're so used to always being in full armor with people, that you're too brittle and you are too hateful to now be able to have genuine people around you, have genuine love, have genuine friendships. No, we got to take all the splinters out of you. It's not for you to go on your own and now build walls around you and you're this brittle person that people cannot relate to you because you're suffering from spiritual PTSD. Toxic individuals are dangerous. Don't let them play mind games and head games with you. Don't let them play on your empathy and your sympathy. Protect yourself against them, from them. Take the steps that you need to take. Because a lot of times when you keep them around you, it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you your mind. It's going to cost you your peace. It's going to cost you your freedom. And sometimes it'll even cost you your life. All right, guys, I hope this message encouraged someone. I know it was 35 minutes. I didn't mean it, but you need to get out there. God bless.